From the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, this is an ITTV special report.
Our next guest is helping us make our homes smarter. It's always fun to have the General Manager for Global Electronics Industry with IBM, Bruce Anderson, joining us. Welcome back into Tomorrow.
Thanks, Dave. It's great to be here.
Haven't seen you since Berlin, I believe, in the IFA show that we usually catch up with you over there. So what's been happening since we spoke last about IBM and consumer electronics and making our homes smarter?
Well, Dave, I think we've seen a lot of adoption by the consumers now of a lot of these connected devices. It's putting a lot of pressure on the consumer electronics companies to have the kind of service capabilities. And as they look at this, I think a lot of them are saying, well, you know, we would really just take the phone call and sort of if something was broken, we'd fix it.
Yeah.
And I think we're really seeing now that a lot of the companies are taking a look at how can they really change that consumer experience. Because it's really to the point now where you are connected to the consumer 24/7 as a consumer electronics manufacturer.
Yep.
And the consumer expectations have been changing dramatically as well. They want something back for that connection, right?
True.
And you know, it's the 26th of December, and people are opening up their Christmas presents, getting them all set up, and guess what? You know, the call center volumes are going to go bonkers, right?
Yeah.
Because they all are having trouble using these new connected products.
That's because nobody reads the manuals, if there are any anymore.
That's true. That's true. There's not a lot in the box that can help you, and you really need to use that connection as a consumer electronics manufacturer. And so the things we've been doing at IBM are really explaining to the consumer electronics manufacturers how can they use that connection to deliver better service and a better consumer experience when they open the box, but then really taking a look at some of the smarter products and how they can help you upsell, cross-sell, move into different areas the consumer may be interested in. And so it becomes more of a 1-2 punch where not only can we change the cost structure of delivering service, we can also enhance revenue if we do a really good job.
And I was going to say, to be able to do both of those is really an accomplishment. And I guess, is that part of what IBM is considering the consumer experience in the long run to help make that happen?
It is. If you've been following IBM, you've been noticing that we've kind of bought up most of the analytics software companies that are out there.
Yeah.
Because one of the things we're seeing is the connected devices are generating a ton of information. The question for consumer electronics manufacturers is, what are you going to do with that information?
Right, it's overload, and I guess this is helpful, but now what?
Exactly. And so as I talk with my clients, it becomes very clear that they need to develop a competency in how to interpret a lot of this data that's coming in, but then use it to build sort of the golden record of what the consumer is all about. What products do they have? How are they using those products? And then to really link that into what's going on in terms of social networking. What are we seeing in terms of feedback about those products in the marketplace? Is it coming from that same consumer in that same geography where they're having trouble and they're tweeting about it to all of their friends?
True. It might just be a geographical issue of some sort that now can be tackled in a different way. Right?
Well, absolutely, because if you think about it, you're delivering a lot of services through those connected devices, and the consumer electronics manufacturers are not the original authors of many of those services.
Boy, that's
right?
for sure.
You think about pulling movies through and whatever, that's really a third party, and sometimes the problems are not in your device per se.
Yeah.
It could just be one of your partners that you have to deal with that and get that situation resolved so the consumer experience can be improved.
Now, in your introduction, I talked about smart homes too, making our homes smarter. So what is your perspective? How is IBM looking at smart homes? What does that mean these days?
Well, we take a look at overall smart buildings, right? And we start with the large, office complexes. And there's a lot of money that goes into those, and there's a lot of opportunity to improve the way that energy is handled, to improve the way, that lighting works, that the office equipment works. And so a lot of our monitoring software like Tivoli is being embedded into a lot of those products at the office level to make sure that we're as efficient as possible. Now we're seeing some of those same techniques being used on the home products, where the manufacturers are looking for how can I cost effectively reach into the home and understand how my product's performing. Maybe I can make recommendations to the consumer about how he's purchasing energy, things along those lines. We have business partners that are also involved at a lower level, actually inside the home, where the device will connect in and communicate that data back to the manufacturer.
And that can make a big difference to us as consumers ultimately in improving upon products and services and everything that we need to help make our homes smarter.
Absolutely. That experience for the consumer has to be simple. It has to be very intuitive, very easy for them to use, and then they're going to get the value, and then they're going to show up at at the retail store and
Yes.
buy more of these consumer electronics.
So it becomes a win-win-win when it's all falling into place.
Absolutely. we will just all enjoy our homes a lot more.
And of course, as the general manager of global electronics industry for IBM, you got your hands full, which is why it's cool that we see you literally around the world every time we're traveling, and we get to catch up on what you're doing now.
Yeah, we got a wonderful perspective from all of our clients. They explain a lot of the hardest problems to us, and we leverage a lot of our IBM research capabilities to work on those. But I'll tell you, Dave, I think that the ability of the consumer electronics industry to really understand all the data generated by these connected devices is going to really transform the industry.
Oh, for sure. And that's where IBM is helping big time. Check it out at ibm.com/electronics. You're going to learn all kinds of cool things, follow up on some of the stuff Bruce is talking about. Thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, Dave.